ever be. No matter what comes our way, we'll be together.
Welcome to Homeschooling Down South. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kat. We're two Southern homeschooling mamas sharing real talk, resources, and inspiration for life and learning in the Southeast.
Each week, we'll chat with inspiring voices in the homeschool community, highlight must-see nature spots and field trip gems, and share resources from across the region.
Whether you're new to homeschooling or a seasoned pro, pull up a chair and join us as we celebrate the joy, freedom, and community of homeschooling down south.
We'll laugh together, we'll learn together, find the joys in life together, give each other grace and space to be.
Welcome back, listeners. Happy New Year's Eve. We hope you had a wonderful holiday last week, and we're so excited for this final episode of 2025.
So crazy.
We can't believe it, but we're going to do another special for you this week. And then y'all come back next week. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming. We have so much great content in store for you in 2026. And we're already planning season 2. So just keep on going with us. Make that one of your New Year's resolutions to keep listening to Homeschooling Down South.
Yes. Or if this is your first episode, catch up on the rest of them and come hang with us.
Come hang. It's gonna be a fun 2026. So here we are at the end of 2025. We're reflecting some in this episode and we're planning some in this episode. Where we're gonna start is, how do you launch back into schooling after the holiday season? So Kayla, why don't you start by sharing with us, what is your post-Christmas, post-New Year's homeschooling look like?
So we generally try to slow roll it, and we'll start this coming year, probably the week after New Year, we'll start adding back in our morning routine and maybe just one subject a day. And then by, Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, my husband, who's in the military, he always has a 4-day for that weekend. And so sometimes we do stuff. And so that Tuesday after is generally when this is our hard start back at it. And by that time, we're generally gearing up for our enrichment program to start back up. And I know this year I'm going to be a little bit of a crazy person juggling all the things that I have for that. So yeah, we take it pretty slow because I don't like the abrupt start back. And, we're dedecorating, we're getting our house back in order. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. We keep it very, very simple. So what about you?
I like slow. So this is really our first year truly schooling. This is our kindergarten year. And so I really just have an idea and we'll see how it goes. But one of the things that I do as a Wild and Free group leader, we're 3.5 years into our group, and I've over time done less in December, but I do start us back pretty early in January. So that's kind of the first rhythm that I like to start with, is rebuilding that community rhythm. And so the first full week back in January, we'll have our first hike of the year, which is sometimes pretty cold. And I like pushing people outside of their comfort zone and going on cold hikes. So we'll probably actually start the week before with a hike in the new year to just get ourselves back in that rhythm. And when we hike outside of Wild and Free days, we listen to the Nat Theo podcast. And we've gotten a little bit out of that rhythm with the holiday season. So kind of starting back with the Nat Theo podcast. And then I think we'll probably, that first full week of January, pick our reading and math lessons back up. That's my plan. And we never stop our morning reading. So that is a habit that we keep whether we're schooling or not. And so that will still be that anchor. And yeah, then we'll just kind of scaffold in from there. I do usually see that start date of our enrichment program as like, we can't build our full weekly rhythm when that's still on break. So it will be sort of, I think, maybe testing a little bit through January to see like, what is the rhythm going to look like? Because what I've realized is I set out with really good intentions this fall and those rhythms all kind of fell apart. So I got to really think through the rhythms again. So I'm going to use January as like a testing ground because our enrichment program starts back the beginning of February. And I really want to have that rhythm feel like it's in place when that starts.
Also, just want to prepare you that I love that you're going to set that rhythm in January, but it's also probably going to fall apart by the end of spring semester.
And I'm ready for that. I'm ready.
And that's just how, like, we set out with these wonderful intentions and they work for a little while and then eventually life just kind of gets in the way. And I think that's honestly okay. I think that's part of why homeschooling works
Yeah.
because you adjust with your life, you know?
Yeah. And
And you
that's real
can
life.
yeah, yeah. You can make those changes mid-semester if you need to. I
Yeah.
am going to chat with both my kids in this in-between time and just ask, "Hey, what did you like about specific" I know we're set with curriculum. I'm not
Yeah.
stressed about that. "What did you like about morning routine, and what didn't you like, and is there anything that you'd like to add?" And then that'll help me kinda get set up for the new year.
That's a really good plan. I think I hear a lot of people talk about doing that during the summer, which makes sense. But to do it at this mid-year point too, because, like, we're in charge.
Right.
We can make changes if we need to, so I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
So you mentioned best of intentions. What are some of your 2026 intentions for your homeschool?
Well, definitely, with our morning routine, I want to add one more thing and kind of gauging my kids' interest on what that might be, whether it's a mini unit study or maybe it's we add in some language study. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to give them some options. But I know for a fact our science is going to look different. If we don't do the Chattanooga Zoo program, we are going to do the Love at Homeschool Education Wildcrats adjacent science because my kids love wildcrats so
Same.
much. And I have been struggling. We've never done the same science curriculum twice. I've never found one that I'm absolutely in love with. And so I was like, okay, cool. We'll do the Chattanooga Zoo one and then I'll use what they're doing and then build on that at home just myself. But then I was like, "Why? Why? I have followed this woman on TikTok for pretty much as long as I've been on TikTok. Why have I not considered her curriculum?" So, we will link it in the show notes, but I am strongly that is a very, very strong contender for our science curriculum for the new year,
I have it.
and
I
yeah,
have her. Yes, and I like it. It's still
yeah,
it's actually a little too old for my son.
yeah,
I tried it, and it hasn't worked yet, but I am really excited about it for his first grade year. I think it'll be a good
yeah.
fit. It's really well made.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about the possibility of doing that. And, I always have the intention of being more on a schedule. And a lot of homeschoolers don't want to be on a schedule. That's their perk of homeschooling. But just for myself and specifically for my daughter, a schedule really helps because then there's no surprises. We know what each day is going to look like. But I think instead of thinking of it as a daily schedule, one of my big intentions is to be not to use the word intentional so many times, but to be intentional about having Sunday sit downs where we sit down and go just do an overview of the week. Hey, this is what this week is going to look like. So on these days by 9:30, we're going to start our book work. But, on this date, we have a chiropractor appointment at this time, or, you know, we're going to go on a wild and free hike on these Thursdays. So I really want to be a little more intentional about that.
I like that idea a lot. I might borrow that from you because I do
Go
think
for it.
your daughter and my son both really thrive when they know what to expect. And so helping to set those expectations, which also would probably help me be better at reminding him that we need to be flexible. Like these are our expectations, but
Right.
things can always change.
Right.
But having like a conversation point set for every week to know we're going to remind about that
Yeah.
could probably be really helpful in my homeschool.
Well, and I think it also helps me stick to it. I don't have to wonder like, "Oh, no, I've already told the kids we're doing this." And I want to, in that conversation, make it a point to talk about meals. This is what we're doing on this day. On this day, we might be eating dinner at church or eating dinner with friends or whatever, but these are the days we're going to be home. What do we want to eat this week? So I just want to manage. I keep thinking about the Jennifer Hen episode and what she said about, "Mama, how much time do you really have?"
Mm.
And that really stuck with me and I think is gonna be, a focus for me in the new year of being realistic with the time that I have, but also being a good steward of it.
Nice. I like that. That's
So what
awesome.
about you? What are your intentions for 2026?
My intentions, I purchased the Beautiful Feet books character study and just never found a place for it in our weekly rhythm. So my intention is to figure out where that fits because I think it could be great for us. Our homeschool is so centered around books and story, and I think I need to kind of get back to that. I maybe got too far away from that in this first 6 months of kindergarten year. Not even
Sure.
6 months. I guess it was just 4 months. So that's one of my intentions. And then I had gotten so excited back in August when you told me about morning time and, hey, guess what? It doesn't have to be morning time. It can be anytime. And so I had hinged it to after lunch and made it
Yeah.
afternoon time. But there's a reason that mornings work. And I think that just we're often fresher and more ready to, and like less has happened.
Yeah.
So I want to try to find a way to either hinge it to the beginning of lunch or adapt our morning reading time to include morning time. So I'm going to play with that a little bit in January. That's one
Yeah.
of my intentions. And then similarly to you, I just really want, it's not even that I want to manage my time better. I want to perceive my time better because I know that for the things I've been called to, there's enough time.
For sure.
I don't have a god of scarcity.
Right.
But something in my brain tells me I don't have enough time. And so I think similarly to you, like thinking about that great advice from Jennifer Hen of think about how much time you realistically have. But I think also one of the things I'm really going to be working towards in 2026 is not putting things on my plate that aren't mine
Right. Ooh,
and
love it.
just trusting and being still with what's already there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be taking a course with Evergreen Planner, their Renew course that kind of teaches you about how to think about time. And I also got myself a Growth Roots book that is all about your relationship with the Lord. And so I'm going to be trying to be more thoughtful about how I use that time in particular.
Yeah.
And I need a tool. I mean, I know I don't
Yeah.
need a tool. I already have all I need, but I like a tool.
Yeah. It's helpful. It's
Yeah.
helpful to feel like you have some guidelines. And I think I've talked about before, a lot of times with homeschooling, it's like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want." And it's like, but that's really overwhelming." Some
Yeah.
of us need the
Yes.
guidelines.
Yes.
So I enjoy that as well. But I'm excited about I'm not a New Year's resolution girly. I don't do that just because then that just builds like failure mentality when you inevitably don't follow through or whatever. But I love the new. I love the newness. I love his mercies are new every day. We know that. But there's just something about like a fresh new year. And 2025 has been a wild one for our family. So I'm excited about the prospect of a new year.
Yeah, it feels good to turn the page sometimes
Mhm.
and feel
Mhm.
like a fresh start. And I don't do resolutions either because I feel like that locks you into stagnation throughout the
Yeah,
year. If you're like, well, I have to wait to have a new goal or resolution until January 1st. You just like his mercies are new every day. Your motivation can be new every day and
sure.
you can start something on March 12th or September 16th. Like it doesn't have to be January 1st. And I don't like that mentality, but I do like that idea of this is a new start and you get
Yeah.
to set intentions or let yourself come up with new ideas and be reflective about what has worked and what hasn't worked over the last year. And I try to schedule in for myself times throughout the year to do that again and
Yeah.
not just let it be a December 31st to January 1st thing. There is something like when we're all doing it together, like we're all having
Yeah.
January 1st together, it just feels
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a new beginning and like a fresh start, like you said. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I do like to set a word for the year. I'm one of those people
Yes, me too.
who
Do you
sets a
have a
word.
word for 2026 yet?
I do. I haven't talked about it to anyone yet.
Okay, well,
Do you,
share
do
it
you,
with the whole world at one
with
time. The
do
whole
you,
world
do you
meaning
have one?
12 people listening. I I will have one. I haven't decided. I have a word for our enrichment program because I
Oh.
am for the listeners at CAT, obviously you know this, but I now sit on the board as the director of curriculum for our enrichment program. And I really have a heart to like give what I can to help this thing be amazing. And so my word, it's a couple of words, but consistency and culture is my
Mm.
word for our enrichment program because I want when people hear about our enrichment program, they know what we're all about. But as far as for my word, I haven't decided yet. It'll
All
come.
right. I'm excited to hear about it when you decide. My word for 2026 is still. And
Mm.
I like a word that can have multiple definitions.
Ooh, I like
So
where this is headed.
so that's what I'm excited about with the word still. And I definitely am feeling the Lord asking me to just be still. And he's given me seasons where I've been forced to be still and I still wasn't. So he's now like, okay, with a full plate, you're going to be still. But it's also not just be still, but still keep these things. He just doesn't want me to add anything new.
Right.
He wants me to still pursue my homeschool, still lead, still teach in our enrichment program, and just let those things be enough and be.
Yeah.
And then the other definition of still, when I was contemplating this word, is like, he's still good. It's
Yeah.
still, it's still good. That definition of still, too. So I'm kind of excited to see where that part of the definition of the word leads in 2026. I often set out thinking I know what this word is going to do
Yeah.
in the year, and it often does different things. And my word for 2025, that's been
Really?
interesting.
That has
Yes.
been so interesting
It's
for you.
been so interesting. And so part of still feels like we're still working on attention too.
Right.
We're not actually leaving that in 25. Still attention, but also be still podcast, still lead
Yeah.
wild and free, still do these things, but also like what other things is he going to show me are still whatever. So I'm excited about it. I clearly am like still mulling over how it all
Yeah.
feels to me, but you can follow me on Recreating Camp and I will be doing a still post sometime early in the new year.
I also had the thought too when you were talking, still to come,
Mhm. Yes,
you
for
know?
sure.
Like a anticipatory waiting of what God has in store for you. I'm very hopeful. I'm very excited for what 2026 has for us as a podcast, for us as a family. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think of where we were in January. I mean, this podcast was not even a thought in our heads in January of 2025. And now we are halfway through our first season and already booking things into season 2. I mean, it's just wild to think about
It is
how much
wild,
can
and
change.
I think it's a good example of try the new thing, take the leap of
Yeah.
faith. And so we've been thinking a lot about how that's been a common theme. So we want to
Yeah.
share with you what some of our guests have been saying about taking that leap of faith.
And his wisdom that I really feel was from the Lord. He said, "Would you try it just for 1 year? Like give it all you've got with a really strong dose of seriousness, and if it's not for you or it's not for our family, I'll never ask you about it again." I was like, "It's K4, sold." You know what I mean? Like, "I'll do this to get this guy off my back," you know? And oh my gosh, it was the most glorious year. And I was already a stay-at-home mom, so it's not like our lives like revolutionized, but it was just beautiful.
So I thought, well, I'll try it for a year and pray about it and see how it goes. And so every year from that point on, I pray and say, well, Lord, is this what's best for my child? And take it from year to year.
When I even say them now, it seems like, wow, how did you make it through? But we do. We take it 1 year at a time, and I want to unburden you mamas, because if this family with all of our mess made it, and our kids are wildly successful, then yeah.
Now, some years it was hybrid. Some years we were fully home. Some years we were living in Guatemala fighting to get their brothers home. So we did a variety of everything. Some was classical, some was eclectic, some could have been unschooling. I mean, when I say this girl has tried it all, pretty much tried it all over the 30 years.
So if you are listening to our podcast because somebody said to you, you're thinking about homeschooling, you live here in the Southeast, check out this podcast because it'll give you some ideas or some connections, and you have not like made that decision yet, we hope that that inspired you just to take the leap of faith, that it's not a forever commitment. You can try something new and see how it goes and always adapt it and adjust it or decide it's not for you. And that's
Yeah.
okay. And if you have been homeschooling and you're continuing and you're getting ready to shift out of holiday mode and back into school mode, we just hope this thought of trying it for a little bit of time, trying it for a year, trying it for less than a year, we hope that it will inspire you to try that new thing that you've been wanting to do in your homeschool. Just give it a try.
Yeah, because I think sometimes you pick a curriculum. Well, I should like this curriculum. This curriculum works for so and so, and it's not. And you're trudging through and you're miserable. And it's just like, ditch it, try the new thing. You are the adult in the room. If you want to try something new, just try it. And if it doesn't work out for you, then move on. Move on to something else or move back to the thing that was working before. And I think it was just so neat to hear these veteran homeschool women as well as these currently homeschooling women. I mean, the sentiment across the board is no one is signing their life away to the thought of homeschooling. So many of us are taking it year by year, semester by semester. And I'm seeing a lot of posts on Facebook right now from homeschool moms saying, hey, guess what? Your kids don't have to go back to school after Christmas. You can keep them home. Like, you can pull them. And I do want the homeschool curious moms listening to hear that you can pull them. They don't have to go back after Christmas. But also, if they do go back after Christmas, you can pull them the next week. You can pull them the next week. I had a mom ask me, hey, is it okay if I go ahead and pull my kids now, or do I need to wait till Christmas break? I was like, girl, you go down to the school right now and pull them. It's almost a little bit like we've been conditioned to think we're not in charge of our own children. Like, you need permission to do this. And it's like, girl, no.
Nope.
These are your kids. And don't be afraid to take the leap. Don't be afraid to try something new, whether you're looking to get into homeschooling or currently homeschooling. Don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to try the new, maybe a little scary thing. Do it scared. It's okay.
And don't feel like whatever new thing you're trying is, well, now I'm stuck with this.
Right.
If it's not working, like you said, whether that's the curriculum or homeschooling in general, think about your long-term goals. And there are lots of pathways to get there. And your long-term goals are when your kids are grown. And so what works in this season isn't going to be what works in another season. It's okay to just keep trying something new until it clicks. And also recognize that it might click for a while, and then it'll be time to try something new again. And that's all okay.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing we've heard a lot from different people that we've interviewed is I think maybe it was Tam that said it, that, she'd get to like March and it's not working. Okay, well, great. We're not finishing this book. We're going to try something else,
Yeah.
And she made the comment about, we change our kids' clothes seasonally. We take out the old and bring in the new. Think about how fast they grow out of their clothes and their shoes, and we're totally fine. We don't stress about that. We just get them new clothes and shoes.
Yeah.
Or in our case, lots of hand-me-downs. So why do we stress so much about that in terms of, our curriculum or even our routine? Because we're inside more in the wintertime, our family is, because we do not like to hike in the cold. But when it comes springtime, I might give a little more leeway. Like, hey, we don't have to start our book work at 9:30 because it is beautiful this morning, and we're going to go sit outside and enjoy this lovely spring morning. So I think it is important to, maybe even seasonally, just kind of reassess.
Different rhythms in different seasons, whether that's the 4 climate seasons that we experience or different seasons of our lives. We're supposed to have different rhythms because there's different needs, there's different things happening externally, and we're supposed to respond. And that's one of the gifts of homeschooling, is that we get to respond instead of react. And again, we are their parents. We get to make the decisions instead of reacting to what someone else is telling us we should do or are going to do. We decide. And that's a really beautiful gift of homeschooling. And it's good to remember that going into 2026. So I'm going to throw a curveball.
Yeah.
Because I really liked, as we're talking and we're like thinking back on the episodes, do you have something that's like really stuck out to you from one of the episodes we've aired? And you've already talked about like you're going to do the Chattanooga, or you're maybe going to do the Chattanooga Zoo, which like that came from one of our episodes. And you've talked about Jennifer Henn's episode and Tam's episode. But is there an episode from 2025 that like, if this is someone's first time listening, you're really excited for them to get to that episode?
Okay, first of all, I'm dying laughing over here because I literally was going to ask you the same question.
Beat you to it. You put me on the spot with my word. I'm putting you on the spot with this.
I was like, we didn't
But
talk
not on the
about
spot.
we didn't talk about doing this, but we should
didn't.
totally do it. Okay, so from 2025, I think This is my favorite episode, or not my favorite, but like a standout from an episode that has been released in 2025, not that we've recorded in 2025. Okay.
Yes.
Oh goodness. Gosh, that's really hard.
And
But
while you're thinking,
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
going to say also that clip we just aired a little bit ago might have had some voices in it that have not aired yet. So we hope that
Yeah.
as you were listening, that piqued your interest, because like we really do have some great things coming in 2026, and it's hard not to jump ahead and think of
Yes.
some of those.
Well, and I think people don't realize we've recorded so much. I mean, we have episodes currently recorded that are not going to be released until March or April.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to remember just what's been done this year. But I think that this isn't necessarily a standout moment from an episode as much as my favorite podcast related moment, which was when we were at the Southeast Homeschool Expo. And all of these people, like Amber O'Neill Johnston and Jennifer Hinn and Jeannie Fulbright, all these people we expected to be like, man, I'm honored, but my schedule's full, or you're going to have to set that up with my agent. And every single one of those amazing women were so excited when we asked them. And we're like, yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, yes, of course. And so that was a really, really big deal for me, because it just really solidified, hey, what we're doing is the right thing. And I will also say, being asked to be on the Play Skillfully podcast
Yes.
was definitely a highlight of 2025. That was so cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just the way that these women have encouraged us and been willing to come on our brand new podcast and have cheered us on has been really, really special. I have just a quote that has stuck with me since we heard it. We did the interview in August. We aired the episode in November. But when Amber O'Neill Johnston said, "You should never be ashamed of home,"
Yes.
I come back to that on a weekly, sometimes more. I have written it down all over my house, like in notebooks and up on a Post-it note. And she shared that within the context of a conversation, but then it ended up being this like much broader topic for me about the culture of our homes. And that ultimately the most important thing I'm doing here is creating a culture in my home, an atmosphere in my home, and that is an atmosphere that I want my son to always feel like lifted him up and that he's proud to be a part of, and that he could take pieces of and carry forward into his adult life. And so that's the thing that has stuck with me on a like regular basis in my own homeschool.
Yeah, and I was trying to think about if I had to tell somebody what episode to start with, or what, this is my favorite episode. I think you kind of have to start with our first episode. I think you have to start with the pilot to understand, one, our vision for the show, but also just how we've approached homeschooling. But I literally cannot pick one episode. I would say the innovator category with Tam, Amber, Jeannie, Jennifer. I think those are the only ones we've released so far.
And so many more to come.
So many more to come. I think that is my favorite category, because I'm always so amazed at what these women are doing for the homeschool community. And I think when we were talking with Kathy Eggers for our recording for our episode, which will come out in 2026, we talked about the fact that we're both going to be at certain conferences, and it kind of felt like, oh my gosh, like we're getting to do what we're doing with these women as well, which is really, really stinking cool. So I would say any of the innovator, definitely start with our first episode, but any of the innovator episodes are just truly incredible.
They are incredible. And the generosity of their wisdom. They are so generous with what they've learned in their homeschools.
Yeah.
They're not gatekeeping. They want you to hear what mistakes they made and protect you from those, and they want to encourage you. They're just so generous with their wisdom. I like that. If you had to pick a category, I agree. You have to start with the pilot. If you're branding, you have to start with the pilot, just so that you can, like you said, hear our vision, also get to know us a little bit. And then I think that helps you understand why we talk about the things we talk about. If I were to pick one of our categories, one of our themes, I think I might go with the experiences.
Yeah.
Because especially if you're new to homeschooling. So maybe not if you're just new to the podcast, but if you're new to homeschooling or homeschool curious, the experiences help demonstrate that you are not locked in your home. There is so much to do. There are so many people and places out there creating things for homeschoolers because they believe in what we're doing
Yeah.
and they want to support us, and that you're not going to be an island. And the more you engage with it, the more you realize there's so much that I have to say no.
Yeah.
It's not that there's not enough.
100%.
And I love that we are helping people find those things. And that
Yeah.
was one of the visions for the podcast. That was one of the things that sparked the conversation for us to do this. And so I think because that's sort of the seed that was planted, I think that's right now my favorite category.
So we've talked about our word or our intentions, not our word, our intentions for 2026 for our homeschool. But can we talk about our intentions for 2026 for the podcast?
Yes. Yes.
Because
I love that.
I have big thoughts.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, tell me
Yeah.
your big thoughts.
Well, we just want to see y'all more in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
So you're gonna hear a couple months in advance of some places that we're gonna be. We wanna meet you. We actually want to record some of you. We want to
Yes.
talk to you on mic. Some of you listeners, we want to hear I want to hear more from y'all this year. I want to hear what you love to do, where you homeschool. So you're going to see us at some conferences. You're going to see us just like walking around. We'll have our shirts on. So if you're at a conference this year, be on the lookout for us and look out for those shirts. But I'm really excited. We're presenting at the Southeast Homeschool Expo in 2026. We're so excited about that. And I think, again, just a little bit flabbergasted at the opportunity and just so grateful for them opening the door for us. And again, this is really from these women who are encouraging us and opening the door. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about just seeing y'all, not just
Yeah.
being here behind this microphone, but being
Yeah.
out with y'all.
Yeah.
What about you?
If I had a word for 2026, it would be relationship for the podcast, because I want to really work on building those relationships. I'm really excited for the conferences to meet people and to kind of broaden our reach, not just because, oh, I want a bunch of people to listen to the podcast, but because I want to create relationships. I want to work with these people. I want to innovate with them. And I want to help make homeschooling feel more accessible and less lonely for people. I've heard from moms who live in more rural communities or, away from cities that it can feel lonely. They have trouble finding their group. But even not, I remember I had a comment on one of my TikTok videos, how do I find homeschoolers in my area? And I was like, well, where are you? Maybe I can help you. She was in Panama City, Florida. Like, girl, let me help you.
They've got to be there. It's Florida.
Yeah. So I personally want to develop relationships with people that we can come alongside and work with to help just make the homeschool community all that it can be. But I also want to create those relationships with our listeners and just with other fellow homeschool moms. And so I'm hoping with our field trips that we're for sure doing Arrowhead Wildlife. I'm going to butcher the name of it, but it's a preserve wildlife thing.
Arrowhead Environmental Education Center.
That one. We're doing that in January. So if you haven't checked out our Facebook page, please do that. If you want to come on the field trip, we'd love to have you. We're also going to do Science Education Day at the Braves with the Science Machine
can't
again.
wait.
Yes, we're so pumped. And what did we say? That was April 1st?
I think so.
Okay, we'll double check and get that information out to you guys as well. But for sure doing those, hopefully doing some more. And so I'm just excited to get to talk with more people and meet more people. We talked about the Spotify Wrapped, because Spotify does Wrapped for obviously its listeners, but for those of you who aren't in content creation, they also do it for the creators. And we got some really cool feedback on the Spotify Wrapped.
Did. So we want to share it with you, mostly to say thank you.
Yeah.
We looked at this and we were just really grateful and amazed that we launched on September 2nd. Is that right?
Yeah.
September 2nd, 2025. And that we have some of this to share is just overwhelming in the most positive way it could be. So we just want to say thank you, and we're going to share some of it with you, but also to encourage, keep helping us grow. If you like what you're hearing, keep sharing it, keep reviewing, because these stats will just get better.
Yeah. Well, do you want to share what one of those stats was?
The one that stuck with me was that of podcasts that debuted this year, we were in is it 78th percentile?
It says your debut season was more popular than 78% of other new shows. How insane is that?
I had to read it a couple times when I looked at it the other night because I was like, math was not always my forte. Am I reading this the right way?
This does mean what I think it means.
It's so good. And thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you to our listeners for tuning in. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. And especially considering the fact that this is our 18th? This will be our 18th episode. So 18 episodes in 2025. And yeah, I mean, I just am grateful that anybody listens. And I am so grateful for the feedback that we've gotten. I love, love, love hearing from you guys when you really like something or something resonates with you. We love hearing that. So yeah, that was just really exciting. What got me to that point was in the conversation we were talking about next year. And it's like, man, what is next year going to hold if that's what this year held?
Pretty
Kind of
exciting.
exciting. Yeah.
So we're so grateful. And I know we just said we are not resolutions people, but I am going to set a goal for our listeners. And my goal for you, listener, is to email us in 2026 with something, somewhere, someone you want us to go, interview, explore, research. And I would love it if it was something that you have a connection to so we could maybe talk to you.
Yeah.
And we want to expand. We love where we live. And that's why we started this podcast, because we love how much there is to do for the homeschooler within an hour, 2 hours of where we live in Northwest Georgia. Not Northwest Georgia people, we still want to hear from you.
Of course.
But we would love to hear from you, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Virginia. If you consider yourself in a southern state, we have a lot of conversations about which states are Louisiana. Like, we want to hear from you. And if you consider your state southern, then go ahead and email us. We will take it.
Yeah.
My family and I drove from Georgia to Texas over the Thanksgiving holiday. And as we were traveling through all these states, my husband and I were talking about, does this state qualify as Southern? And if you look it up, if you ask the Googles, you will get different answers. So we're not going to box ourselves in, and we're not going to box you in, listener. If you are listening and you consider yourself in a Southern state, we didn't say your state. That doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you.
Right.
So email us at hello@homeschoolingdownsouth.com, and we would love to just explore with you. We're so excited to keep expanding, not just our listenership, but what we know about in the region.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, all of this is such a huge win that we've just talked about with the Spotify Wrapped and just the people that said yes to us. But it's more than just those numbers, and it's more than even listenership, because this means a lot to us, and this has become such a passion project for us. And I think after Jeannie Fulbright's episode, after she left the studio, we both were like, you know what? Even if this doesn't work out, what a blessing this has been to us. This has been so cool. So, for the last time in 2025, do you have a podcast win to share?
I do. It's kind of two that overlap.
Okay.
So it starts with us just doing it, us saying yes to the idea, to each other, to each step, because one of the things our listeners may not know is that we really are just taking this step by step. We pray about the steps. We take the next step that's illuminated for us, but we also work really hard once that step is illuminated. And I'm just proud of us for doing it. But the cool thing that has grown, I might even get a little bit emotional. The cool thing that's grown from us saying yes is just the way our friendship has developed through doing this has been like such a win. Because it's brought us closer than we were before. And I think it's helped us to navigate some crazy things that 2025 has thrown our way. Having this space together, not just to support each other, but also to just come together and play. Because this, if you stay tuned, because we will talk about this more with Kathy Eggers in 2026, but how important it is for moms to come together and do something that they enjoy. And it's just been so fun to figure this out with you.
Yeah.
All right. So also for the last time in 2025, what is your podcast win?
I think my biggest podcast win is that we did it, and not in the sense that we started it, because in a way, I think starting it is easier than continuing it. And I have listened to so many podcasts that start off, and I had one that I really enjoyed. And then one episode, they were both just like, yeah, I don't know. And they had only had like 10 or 12 episodes. Or you have this great idea and you want to do this thing, but then life happens and it doesn't become a priority. And so then it just falls by the wayside. And I was so excited to do this with you, not knowing where it was going to go or how long it was going to last. But I was nervous that something would happen that would prevent us from continuing. And I will say, when you're working with someone and it's the right fit, man, it just works so well. And I'm not going to use the word easy because we put in a lot of hard work, but it has been so beautiful watching you naturally use your gifts and me naturally use my gifts to just get the thing done.
Yeah.
And things have just, we have our monthly or bi-monthly, whatever, business meetings, and it just flows. There is an easy flow. That's what I'll say. It's not easy, but there is an easy flow. And it just really gives me hope that this thing could be for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
And so I'm just
like I
really
said, there was a
proud of
bunch of
us.
states we just listed off.
Yes.
There's
And
so much.
I'm really proud that we have been consistent about it and that we have, really treated it like a business and really treated it like this is a serious thing that we're doing, even though
And
it
a
does feel like
partnership.
we're. Yes. It's really just been a beautiful, beautiful partnership to see where, we each bring these unique things to the table, and the podcast needs both of them. So that's been
This
fun.
podcast has definitely been a highlight of my 2025.
Oh my gosh, easy. And people have no clue the amount of time we spend before we hit record and after we press stop, how much time we spend just chatting. I mean, this is like our own little special version of FaceTime, but it's filled my well, if you will.
It's been a blessing that
Mm-hmm.
we really prayed we would bless others, and we've
Yeah.
been so grateful for how it's blessed us.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Kayla, where can the people find you in 2026?
You can find me at scratchmadesimple _ on Instagram and at scratchmadesimple on TikTok. And where can they find you?
You can find me at Recreating Camp on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Homeschooling Down South on all the socials.
We'll see y'all next year.
And Happy New Year.